When I was in school, right from a really early age, I always thought I wanted to be a doctor. And it was just something that I had. My grandma was a doctor, I've got doctors in the family, and I always thought I wanted to be a doctor. So when I went to do my A-levels, I did maths, biology, chemistry and physics because I loved maths, but I knew I needed the sciences to be a doctor. I went to Liverpool to do medicine, and throughout that whole year, I wished I was doing maths. Every assignment that I had to do, every lecture I went to, I was wishing it was maths. So eventually, come the March of my first year, I did drop out of medicine and applied for a maths degree to start in the September, which I started. And then I knew then that teaching maths was definitely the way forward for me.
I first realised I wanted to be a teacher when I was lifeguarding down at the beach, which is something I did for 5 years with the RNLI lifeguards. And a couple of them were studying physics at university and A-level, and they asked me for a little bit of help, and I found that when I was giving them help and they were getting the answers right, that I had a lot of satisfaction and enjoyment in doing that. So when I graduated in civil engineering, I decided I was going to apply a year later to do a teaching qualification at Newcastle University.
I decided that I wanted to be a teacher from a very early age, really. It was definitely in primary school when I was in year 6. I had a really inspirational teacher, so I would have been about 10 or 11 years old then. He was a specialist PE teacher even though he was working in the primary school, and the lessons that he'd done with us were fantastic, and I just knew from there it was a chance where I really excelled in sports. I was never very good at maths at school, but sport was something where I could, beat other people, be a little bit better than them. So I decided probably from around that age that I did want to go into a career teaching sport.
It was when I was at university, and it was probably my second year, and I just realised how much I loved doing the course I was studying and the marketing and the management course that I'd done, and I wanted to take that forward to do some more with it. And I thought what a great opportunity it would be to go into teaching and pass on what I've learnt here people who maybe go down the same route as me. I finished university and then I got onto a PGCE course at Sunderland, where I studied there for a year. I was on 2 placement schools and then got an interview for Whitley Bay on my second placement and got the position. I started there in September and I've been there now for 2 years.
During that year, it was a very full-on year, but I enjoyed it tremendously. I was working in the locality at schools John Spence and Burnside, also within North Tyneside, and halfway through the year the opportunity for a job at Whitley Bay High School opened up, and me and a very good friend of mine both applied for the job. And I used to go to the school, and therefore I was very excited for this opportunity. So we both had an interview at the school, what we thought was against each other, and we got a phone call later on that day to say they'd taken us both on, which was fantastic.
Every day is really busy. I quite like the element of being busy. I don't like to be stood still for too long. But it's a very early start, and obviously with living closer I can get into school a lot earlier and get the jobs done straight away.
I'll come into school, I'll get to about 8 o'clock, and between 8 and half 8 I'll do any last minute photocopying or anything that I've got to do for the day if I haven't already done it the night before. I'll make sure that all my lessons are set up and ready for the school day, and then I'll go to morning briefing at 8:45. And then come back to your form class. That's when registration starts, and then that's when the school day starts.
For me, my working day starts at about 6 o'clock in the morning, and I get up, have a shower, and I like to get straight to school because I find I'm more focused here. So I'll have a shower and then cycle into school, and that gives me plenty of time in the morning to set myself up for the day, get everything organised, and just lets the day flow a lot better.
I stay around in school for an hour to tidy a few things up, and then I'll be back home, have some tea, have a bit of a sit down for half an hour, and then probably get the books out again and start my marking and planning for the next day till probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then time for sort of whatever I want to do after that until the day starts again.
Throughout the day, obviously, I'm teaching my lessons, which I've prepared, and then at the end of the day, if I am very disciplined, I will get all my work done and stay between 5 and 6 o'clock, and that way I don't take any work home with me. If I'm less disciplined sometimes, or there's more work to do, then I will take some work home, in which case it might not finish until a lot later.
I love teaching at the school. The ethos of the school is very much the same as what I would have, and the way they go about their teaching and learning is really inspiring, and I really enjoy teaching there.
I think a really good lesson for me is just the students being 100% engaged, which is obviously hard because you do get students who don't enjoy doing PE. And you know, it's trying to find something where you can get them involved. So even if I've got a girl who, you know, maybe hasn't taken part in the lesson for a couple of lessons, then she actually gets up and does something. That's a big achievement point for me.
I mean, I just love working with the students, and students from all different backgrounds. It's brilliant, and I absolutely love when you're teaching a new strategy or a new method to a student and they get it, and you just see the light bulb in their head and how excited they are that they understand it and they understand why, and then you can watch them progress.
You just have moments throughout your day. It's kind of hard to put your finger on every moment that passes, and you always want to hold on to those moments. But you know, where someone maybe say thank you for an enjoyable lesson is something that you don't get very often. But when you do, it's fantastic that someone's really enjoyed the hour. Or you know, where someone says, oh, I've got that moment, I really understood what you were talking about there, or I can put something into context. Training at school is phenomenal. We meet every Tuesday and we have an hour, just over an hour of training every week. And it's always creative, it's always new, it's always something different. And it's lessons like that you take forward to your classroom lesson the next day. You take forward tips from other members of staff.
It is hard work, but it's so rewarding. I would definitely encourage it. And it's one of those careers where there's lots and lots of developmental, you know, you can develop your career very, very well in teaching, I think, which is something I'd like to think I've started doing.
We do get a lot of stick for saying it's a short day and long holidays, but when you actually realise how much work goes into every lesson and how much work goes into every bit of planning and marking that's done by every member of staff across the school, you realise just how hard working every member of staff is and how well everybody wants the students to do. And it's one of those things I don't think you'll understand fully till you experience it yourself.
I absolutely love it. I love getting up in the mornings, I love driving to work. Every day is different, it keeps me on my toes, the time just goes so fast. I never find myself looking at the clock and wondering what time it is. The day just goes by so fast. There's lots of different challenges, lots of different things happen each day, and it's just a really fun and exciting place to be.
School Direct is a new initiative to centre initial teacher training in the heart of schools. The government's target is that by April 2015, 50% of initial teacher education will be based within schools. There's already a lot of school-based provision, but School Direct is going to be a significant part of that school-based provision.
There's quite a lot of similarities to the PGCE method that's so tried and tested and which everybody understands, in that we'll still be working very closely and have strong partnerships with local universities, but they will be spending more time in school working directly with individual teachers and teams of teachers who are also very enthusiastic about teaching and learning and developing their own skills and their own careers.
It's about not only schools engaging with that training far more, but actually schools being able to create the teachers that they need for their specific circumstances. Universities do a fantastic job at providing generic high quality training. Schools don't necessarily get the opportunity to personalise that training for their individual needs. And School Direct is able to do that. The really crucial difference about School Direct is that the student place belongs to the school rather than the university, and the school will then choose the most appropriate university that it wishes to work alongside. So the school is in a really strong position to mould the nature of that training throughout the year.
We are the lead school working very closely with a wide variety of other schools within our alliance. And a lot of schools are interested in being involved in this and want to get involved in it right from the start, setting it up, making sure that it works for a lot of different kinds of schools, and it offers young people a great start to a career. So it isn't just about fitting up young people to work successfully within Whitley Bay High School, it's offering them the experiences to be successful in a wide variety of schools.
The good thing about School Direct is because although we are a lead school and we have link schools, alliance of schools, it means that those student teachers will be able to experience different things within different contexts, and that's such a valuable thing. And the fact that we're in partnership with those alliance schools as well means that we have really good communication. We can personalise a programme which will bring the best out in our student teachers for the future. I did a Bachelor of Education over a 4-year period, and during that time, each year that I did my degree, I went out on placement in different schools. So I started off my first experience in primary school, and then went to middle schools and then different high schools. And I think being able to experience different schools in different contexts is definitely invaluable in training to be a teacher, and I think School Direct allows us to do that within the alliance that we will have.
So a student will spend the vast majority of their time in a particular school, and that school will create a package of training opportunities specific to the school but also to the wider teaching skills to ensure that the students meeting the recommendations for Qualified Teacher Standard to a really high level. In partnership, the university will be providing Level 7 study that will feed into the school improvement needs of the particular school. We want our students to be able to contribute to the school improvement plans and the school improvement agenda right from the start, to use academic research to really impact on pupil progress. It's quite hard to look a year in advance, to see someone sitting in front of you and to try to imagine what sort of teacher they will be in a year's time. That can be a real challenge for head teachers who are used to recruiting teachers rather than looking for potential. That's why the partnership with university is so important, because we can support schools in that identification of potential.
School Direct is like an apprenticeship, and from past experience, a lot of student teachers have always said that the most invaluable thing is being able to be out in schools and working with other teachers and working with students, and I think School Direct allows for that because there's a high proportion of time spent working within the school environment, which is what they're going to be doing for the rest of their lives.
I think very young children know what a good teacher is, and they have very strong opinions about that. And it's a lot to do with people skills, it's a lot to do with a warmth that somebody brings to a relationship. They're less bothered about subject knowledge, it's about, is somebody great at building relationships with young people? Do they have an enthusiasm and an energy about them?
I think School Direct brings a real new opportunity for schools to grow their own. Many schools sometimes feel that they have to do an element of retraining when an NQT comes, and that becomes the starting point for training. This brings the whole process forward a year, and it means that schools can really contribute to outstanding initial teacher training and begin to change the landscape of the sort of teachers that they want to have for the benefit of their pupils.
We were keen to get involved with School Direct because of our interest in teaching and learning. We are enthusiastic about giving starter teachers a great beginning to their future career, to tap into their potential and develop their skills.
Whitley Bay is going to be running School Direct on behalf of schools across all age phases in North Tyneside and beyond. And Northumbria will be supporting with a really robust postgraduate certificate in education, which is an internationally recognised qualification that will give students the robust study which will enable them to hopefully succeed within the Whitley Bay Teaching School Alliance, but also far beyond England and across the world.
The recruitment process is going to be quite different because there's going to be a wide variety of people involved in that. So schools, first of all, need to think carefully about their future curriculums and what their future needs are in relation to teachers. And so, for example, a school who's in our alliance might say, in 2 years' time we will need, we think, 2 maths teachers, and we would like to recruit those alongside you and train them and then employ them in 2 years' time.
I think because we are going to be leading the majority of the training with student teachers, you know, we have experience of working with different teachers, different students, and it will allow us to help prepare these future teachers, and also working with other schools as well. It means they'll have other opportunities and they can experience different things.
The government decides how many teachers need to be trained over the course of the year nationally, and then the government will allocate to providers. So this is using the best bits of the system as they stand, but giving schools far more control over the quality of the student and the input into the training of that student. What's fundamental to being a good teacher is the ability to step back and reflect. Part of that reflection is knowing how your practice matches to current research, how you can use research to improve your own practice. That we believe that is an integral part. And at Northumbria, our students will be challenged to work on master's level credits as part of their School Direct programme, so that they're really entering the profession with not only a good level of practitioner skill in the classroom, but also a high level of academic reflection.
School Direct will hopefully facilitate getting great graduates into subjects that are shortage subjects, like, for example, physics and maths. I mean, everybody knows that it is quite hard to recruit the numbers and the qualities that we need in those subjects, and hopefully this will help that situation. But I think it will help all subjects. It will be a great system for history teachers, biology teachers, English teachers, and it will give them a great start to what will hopefully be a rewarding career.
I think some students are certainly confused about the different opportunities to enter the teaching profession and may perceive that School Direct does not have PGCE. That's certainly a common perception among many students. Students need to look carefully at what is offered by a School Direct school. Students can sometimes feel that maybe they'll be on their own. As School Direct grows, we'll see much larger communities of students based within school. So that level of support and that community of learning, which is fundamental to becoming a teacher, will be firmly built into School Direct.
Although I've been teaching for nearly 17 years now, I still learn new things all of the time, and I think it's an ongoing process. I think it will provide them with a good foundation of what is expected, but the whole thing about School Direct is that, you know, students can develop even further within the school context, whether the training or after they've qualified. So you're always learning, definitely.
I mean, I trained to be a teacher a long time ago, and I found my most rewarding experience was working alongside teachers who are actively learning themselves in the profession and working directly with students. And although placements in schools can be very demanding, it's challenging and rewarding, and you learn so much so quickly.